We're rolling. I almost forgot about the intro video. My bad. Sorry about that. We've got with us Michael Cargill today. This was impromptu. I hadn't planned on bringing you on as a guest. In point of fact, I didn't know who you were or what was going on, but I can tell you that it was music to my ears to hear about this. So you're with the Central Texas Gunworks, and but the scope of what we want to talk about is far bigger than just your business. Can you give us the lowdown real quick?
Right, sure. So I've done quite a few things. So initially, we filed the lawsuit against the federal government for the bump stock ban, Michael Cargill versus the United States government. And then I've done all the lawsuits before that. Like I've sued the city of Austin. Austin's like the liberal mecca of Texas. And so they used to prohibit gun owners from carrying inside their buildings. So I took them to task and sued them and beat them in court to allow gun owners to carry inside their buildings. And also the last lawsuit was against the ATF directly. And that was to protect mom and pop gun stores, to stop the ATF from shutting down mom and pop gun stores just for simple little small paperwork errors.
Yeah. Believe me. In full disclosure, I have 2 FFLs. And it's exactly how I saw it described in the internet articles that you are attributed in and talked about this case. Paperwork errors, small clerical errors like a wrong number and a date. That's enough. That is considered a what was it? The Biden White House called it a failure to initiate or complete a background check. And so they use that as a reason to give you the boot. I'm right there with you. So tell us a little bit about what has happened here that you were able to have ATF stop and reverse. I need to know this stuff. We need to understand it.
So what we did was we filed this lawsuit against the ATF to stop them from shutting down the mom and pop gun stores. And this case has been going on since like 2022. So we filed it quite a while ago. And, you know, my heart goes out because I've had so many gun stores around the country contact me. You know, Michael, we're having problems. You know, is there anything you do? Because they found out about the lawsuit that I filed against the ATF or the DOJ, the Biden administration, for the bump stock. So they said, you know, can you help us with the mom and pop gun stores? So I reached out to Texas Public Policy Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization, and they've never filed a gun case for anyone. And so this is the first gun case they actually filed. But I said, you know, hey, you know, can you guys work with me and kind of help me protect mom and pop gun stores? And they were on board with this, you know, right? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because, you know, they love firearms, but they just never done a gun case before.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we went ahead and filed the lawsuit because we're getting phone calls, you know, from everywhere. I mean, California, New York, New Jersey, just everywhere. Gun stores that have been in business for decades, you know, passed down from one generation to another, and they were just getting their FFLs, you know, just totally shut down and revoked. And so we had to do something. And there are people that we could not help that have already been revoked. And I, man, my heart goes out to, you know, to those families. And I'm really disappointed that we couldn't help them. But we were able to stop, you know, everything going forward, you know, from this day on. And so what I did was we filed a petition to, you know, just basically ask the court to do a summary judgment, because we knew that we were correct. We would win this case in court. And so the judge signaled that he was going to do a summary judgment. Once the bump stock, you know, lawsuit, that verdict came down with my name attached to it. And it was the same judge, by the way.
Really?
So, yeah, same judge. And he's a Republican appointed judge. And so it looked like he was signaling that, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You know, we need to go ahead and do this summary judgment and go ahead and stop this. So the ATF knew this was coming down. The Biden administration did not want to take another loss, you know, before he got out of office. So they decided to back down and go back to the original, you know, policy of just, you know, being the ATF, being the organization to really assist gun stores and trying to coach them and help them, you know, in some of the mistakes they're making.
Okay, so let me see if I regurgitate this correctly. You got to walk me through this, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so you file a suit that says making a mistake, an honest mistake, isn't a willful error, and you know it, and I know it, and so you move beyond the scope of what this actually, what willful, what is the word willful? What?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically I'm messing this up. It's kind of hard in my mind to get this all straightened out, but the ATF saying any mistake is considered a willful act. Okay.
Correct.
And anybody who has two brain cells to rub together would be able to say, no, it is not. A mistake is a mistake. And so ATF decided to play monkey shines with that, kick people out, take their businesses from them, run them into bankruptcy, and all the things that are associated with basically being a bully. And they see that it's coming, and so then ATF withdraws their or they change their policy, which means you will withdraw your case, and they just leave, right?
Right.
That's okay. Correct. So okay. First of all, thank you for that. From one Michael to another, thank you very much. I'm so glad that you took this initiative and you guys put this all together. Now, I do have a question about those who have been revoked, since nothing can be done for those people, or is this, I mean, ATF's action is basically saying, yeah, we realize that we took liberties, literally and metaphorically, and oh, by the way, we're just going to go home now because we can. Do the revoked folks have an option for a path back, or do you know anything about that?
No, so I'm not sure about that. What we're hoping for is that when Trump gets into office on January the 20th, he appoints a new ATF director, and then we're hoping that that person can assist us getting, if those people are interested in getting their, starting their businesses back up, getting their licenses again, we can assist with that. If they can possibly file a class action lawsuit against the ATF, maybe they can, get some type of retribution, some type of something back from that. Yeah. So we're hoping something comes from that. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know if you've ever done this, but it might be interesting. ATF has spreadsheets that show what is it, revocations, inspections, and all these kinds of things right down by field offices, whatever else. Have you ever actually combed through those?
I've seen it briefly. I haven't gone through it with the detail, no.
You need to go through those from time to time and take a look. I think I'm curious to see what your reflection is. It looks to me like in the highest concentrations of population, gun owners and gun stores, or FFL holders rather, that there's a tremendous disparity between the inspections and revocations versus the Bible Belt, so to speak, from Texas all the way up north through there. It looks to me like places like, in California and Atlanta and New York, Michigan, all these places that have tons and tons of people, tons and tons of gun stores, whatever else, they're out there and they're making like 2 inspections a month. This is no joke. Couple inspections a month here, 12 here, 20 there. And then you get into the area like Kansas City or Oklahoma or whatever else, and they're out there doing 70 and 80 and 63 inspections. It looks to me like there might be some field offices and some specific hits that they're making in places that appear to be red. I don't know if I could say that definitively, but you might be interested in that. And that, to me, is not only you've got the Biden White House and the Attorney General pushing these things out for ATF to administer and cajole and manipulate, but I think there may have been some targeting. It sure appears that way. Yeah. It might be worth looking into.
And here's what we suspected. We suspected what they were doing was they were targeting certain areas and trying to get them, basically shut down and grab those records so they can get into those records and build some type of database or something like that. So that's why it's going to be very important that, when Trump gets into office, whoever he appoints as the ATF director finds out what in the world's going on and find out where all the dead bodies are buried.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that's part of the problem here. I have spoken with many, many people, not just inside of ATF, but for lack of a better way of saying it, there are tons and tons of layers of what I would call middle management pukes. I say that because that's what they are. And so they sit back like this in times like this, and they cross their arms and say, and you know what they say? They literally say, seen them come, seen them go. They're just waiting for the next director to leave, and they're going to go back to the same things that they've always done. So my hope is that ATF director will come in there and fire the heck out of people. I mean, clean house. I want to see the streets red. I mean,
and Michael, here's what I would do. What I would do was I would step into that office day one, work on grabbing all the different attorneys from the different organizations and figure out what we can do as far as the NFA. Can we gut it a little bit, or can we change something? Because a lot of that stuff is going to have to go through Congress, and Congress is going to have to draft some type of bill to get rid of a lot of key things. But there are things that the director can do that the agency actually can do. One, they built this huge 4473. The 4473 used to be a single form, half a pager. I don't have a problem with, people that are from outside the country who are coming in wanting to buy a gun, having them fill out a 3-page 4473. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're a U.S. citizen, you should be able to walk in, write down your name, your driver's license information, and they pull all that information. When I get pulled over by police officer grabs my name, my driver's license, and they can do a complete background check and get my criminal history. So why can't the ATF do the same thing, when they're doing a background check, going through the FBI? So all you need to do on that 4473, one form, short pager, half a page, gun information, name, the driver's license info, and then that's it. That's all needs to be on there. We don't have to answer questions. Why do we need to answer a question about whether or not who I'm going to give this gun to, or what's in my criminal history and all that stuff? Because they already know this information. Why am I answering questions about things that they already know? It's redundant and it's stupid information. So that's one thing we could do. Getting back to the NFA, there should be no reason why, when someone wants to buy a suppressor, they want to get a machine gun, they should be able to walk into the gun store. We should be able to go to the e-forms, fill out a form on the e-forms, and transfer this item, this machine gun or suppressor, to this individual the same day in the gun store, because we're doing the same type of background check that they're doing when they're registering them as far as the NFA.
yes.
Call in a background check like you do any other firearm, fill out the e-form, put the information in there. If you want to attach something to it, attach it to it on the e-form there, submit it. That person walks out the gun store the same day with their machine gun or their suppressor.
I sign a document that doesn't allow me to take a picture of it, a screenshot, or anything like this, or else I would show the public the ATF e-forms that I see as a dealer, through their portal. But I can describe for you in layman's terms how this works. Have you ever logged in? Do you do any of that, Michael?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So essentially, I am dropping and dragging from my inventory into somebody else's when I transfer dealer to dealer. So let's say that I want to transfer something to you at Central Texas Gunworks. Okay. So I'll find the serial number in my inventory, and then I will make arrangements of going through screens to send it to you. And then it basically flags that serial number. ATF is notified, and an examiner comes in there, looks at your account, looks at my account, says, yep, sounds good. They rubber stamp it, and off it goes. So why can't, and this is making the assumption that NFA doesn't change, and it should. You're right about that. But let's say that it doesn't change. Why can't a customer, as an individual, a trust or corporation, whatever, fill out the same kind of profile online so that you and I can drop and drag to them right there, done. They've got their information on file. There's absolutely no reason why that can't happen. And the thing that you could do, the ATF could say, well, we need a background check. Okay, that'll take almost 7 seconds. I do it on the fly for people that walk in to sell them a handgun, whatever else, all day long. I call FBI. Honest to goodness, the hold times are almost zero usually, and they get through with them usually in very short order. I mean, seconds, not minutes. There's no reason that it can't go like that. But I don't think the average public understands, or Joe Public grasps just how hard ATF deliberately makes this. I've had customers come into my shop, I'm sure just like yours, and buy a dozen suppressors. Okay. And so he sits and waits around, in purgatory for this to happen. Explain to me why 7 of those will all transfer on the same day, and then 2 more here and 2 more there, and a third or fifth one or whatever else months on down the line. I don't understand that. There's no reason that they should be running this person's background check for every single serial number, because they already have the guy. They know the guy. They know the people that are contained in this trust, but they just send it to another examiner and he does one, and 2 more go to this examiner and he does one. Why are we doing that? It's a tremendous waste of resource, time. I mean, it's as dumb as it is stupid, and it takes forever. I mean, these people either deliberately are jamming up the system, or they're inept. I don't know which, but neither one are good.
And those things are things that have been done by the ATF themselves, not something that was drafted through a bill through Congress. So that's stuff that actually can be changed day one when a new ATF director walks into the door. Within 30 days, 90 days, the system should be totally different. If we have a good ATF director that walks in that door, they can change that stuff immediately.
I'll tell you what I would do if I was ATF director. First thing I'd do is I'd say, okay, all you guys are fired. But if I didn't do that, I'd say, okay, all you middle management pukes, I'm moving you over to the examiner line. You haven't done anything but mess everything up here for years. You're actually going to go help speed up the backlog, the clog that exists. And while I try and figure out if I'm actually going to retain you or not. Right. So you go actually do work. And we'll talk about your future. I don't know if they're prepared to do that or not, but they don't have enough examiners. Even after they added a few more, it's still ridiculous. There's no reason that it should take the length of time it does.
They need to work on the alcohol and tobacco aspects of it, because more people die from alcohol and tobacco than they do firearms in the first place. So how about we move some of those people over there and focus on that? And how about this? What a concept. Let's go and target some of these illegals that are in this country that are, shoveling guns across through Mexico and other places. How about we focus on those individuals also?
Yeah. It's funny. Can I go back to one thing that you mentioned at the beginning? You said mom and pop gun shops, right? Right. I thought it was interesting that you phrased it like that, Michael. And I got to tell you, I have got my finger on the pulse of not all, but a good portion of Iowa FFLs. And of those FFLs being inspected around here, it's not anybody but the mom and pop gun shops that got run out. The large retailers that had mistakes, and everybody's going to. There's no way you can't. The large retailers that had mistakes were kind of concerned at first. Well, this IOI come out, and will they come down on me like a ton of bricks? That never happened. Despite how many mistakes they had, whether it was a small percentage or a large percentage, those people are all still in business, and they didn't have anything to contend with. But the little guys, they had nothing that they could fight. And what was interesting, just so the public understands this, they said, well, don't worry about it if you get a letter seeing that you have to cease operations because you can appeal this. Well, guess who you appeal it to? The ATF. You don't get to go in front of a judge. You don't get to take this and say, hey, does this appear as if it's justice? You have to go in front of the same person that just said, I'm taking this from you. I don't even know. People should be systematically fired for having put that in place. I mean, I don't know. There's no way that anybody can get fairness that way. I don't know how those things get overlooked, but they are.
Yeah, and your big box stores, they can take care of themselves. The Cabela's, the academies, those big stores, they can deal with a lot. They have that funding, they have the attorneys. They're going to be fine. It's the backbone of this country is going to be the mom and pop gun stores. They're the first line of defense. They're the ones that says, this individual here is definitely suspect, individual. We're not going to let this person get a gun. Also, we're going to contact law enforcement and get them some law enforcement interaction. Or, the mom and pop gun store says, okay, I know my customers. Hey, I know you. You've been here. You come, once a month, whatever. You get something. You left your driver's license at home. Not a problem at all. I know you. We can go ahead and do this transaction. That's what it's all about. It's about knowing your customer and know who they are, and not making sure that guns do not wind up in the hands of people that are criminals, thugs, gangbangers, and these people that are in this country illegally.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I've made this analogy before, and you and I haven't spoken before now. So again, thank you for dropping what you're doing and coming on. I really appreciate it. Now, when I visit, the Iowa Firearms Coalition is like, I don't know, It's like half pilots. I mean, all these guys that I volunteer with that are on the board and executive committee, everybody has a pilot's license, I think, but me. And most of them are corporate pilot's license. So they're very good at this stuff. So I made the analogy before. Let's say that you're Joe Blow pilot. You fly in, you're running through your checklist. There's a commotion back there. Now the captain has to go out and do something about it. And they break up whatever this falderall is, and they get him off the plane, and he's done for the day, and he leaves. And he gets all the way home, and he says, oh, man, I forgot something on that checklist. It just dawned on me. What does that person do? That captain drops what he's doing, makes a phone call, and the FAA says, thank you. Our goal here is to keep airplanes that are airborne in the air. So this is what we need. Thank you for that. They don't send somebody out to inspect him. They don't send somebody out to take his license away, and they don't ruin him for life. But this is exactly what ATF has done. You can't call them for any reason. You can't interact with them for any reason. They won't help you. They absolutely refuse to give you any help whatsoever. They want you to send an email, and then they forward it to somebody else, and months later you may or may not hear anything. So they won't work with you for any reason. And now the gun shops have all said, we don't want to interact with ATF for any reason, because what they do is they come out and shut us down. They will not work with us to achieve compliance. They will not help us.
What a concept. I have a customer that's gotten a gun stolen. They report it to the police. They're trying to, get the firearm back. They want to make sure that everything's done right. And, we get no assistance and any help at all trying to recover that person's stolen gun. Things like that, just it boils my butt. Let me tell you, it just drives me nuts.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for coming on. Is there anything else that we need to know before we go? I mean, you've been involved in a number of these things now. I mean, I'm not saying that you appear to be a veteran to me. And like I told you before we hopped on here, I haven't met you before now, but I'm a Michael Cargill fan. Believe me. So what do we need to know? What do Iowans, what other people need to know moving forward, and what should we be looking for in the future?
I'm really excited about January 20th. I'm excited about the current administration is going to step into office. I'm hoping that we have a DOJ that's going to work with us, stand up for the Second Amendment. I'm hoping that we have a good ATF director. And I'm hoping that we can actually get some bills through Congress these first 2 years. The first 2 years are very important because there's a chance that the House and the Senate may flip after 2 years, the midterm elections. So we've got to get some stuff done. We got to get it passed. We need to get it done within the first 100 days of this president's presidency. And if we don't, we may lose that opportunity down the road. And if we're going to waste this chance. There's no reason we are in control of the House. We're in control of the Senate. We are in control of the White House. Come January the 20th, we should be able to get a lot of things done. There should be no excuses whatsoever. Let's get it done. Let's make it happen.
Well, the way to do that is to get on politicians and stay on them. I mean, I think that what happens in situations like this, at least in my neighborhood, it appears as if, oh, this thing looks great. I just listened to Michael and Michael talk about having a full house and this is all going to work out. And they sit back and they put the finger up or their feet up on the coffee table. That's not going to work. You've got to talk with your elected officials and say, these are the things that I'm passionate about. These are the groups that I'm part of and that back me, and you should be paying attention to. And oh, by the way, I have expectations that you'll do this. And the first thing that they're going to tell you probably is, well, if that makes it out onto the floor, you can count on my support, which is not only it's true, but that's the brush off. That's what I call it. What you should be saying back to them as advocates is, no, I expect you to work with the committee members. I expect for you to advocate for this in caucus because we need this to move out of the floor so that you can vote for it. That's what I'm looking for from you. And oh, by the way, I'll be back here again to speak with you in person, on the phone, whatever else it may be, to follow up on this because I'm not going to forget it. That's what we have to do. I don't know if that's a problem in your neighborhood, but I think it's pretty much nationwide at this point.
Oh, it's a big problem. We need to make sure that you contact both your U.S. senators in your state. You contact your House of Representatives and you put them to task and pressure them. Let's get it done now because time is running out already and the clock has not even started.
I feel like doing the Howard Dean squall. Are you familiar with that one?
No, sir.
Okay, so in Iowa, they have these caucuses, right? And First in Nation, and you get a lot of politicians who are here talking about that stuff. And when Howard Dean was running for president, he walked up on the stage and he didn't have a very good showing, right? And he fell down pretty far in the ranks. And so he kind of went nuts. He got up there like this and he got all crazy. He's like, yeah! You don't remember that one? Do you remember that? I'll find it for you on YouTube and I'll send it to you. Anyway, that was the end of his political career. His thing, you know. So I'm inclined to do that right now. My political career is going nowhere, so I'm not too worried about it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
man, thank you, sir.
Man, I tell you, Michael, thank you very much. I'm glad I got an opportunity to meet you. You know, we got to definitely talk again. Let me tell you, there's so many good things that are going to come out, like SHOT Show, which is coming up real soon. And so, man, I'm looking forward to January 20th. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a good deal. Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for carving out a few minutes for us. We're going to get this out on Wednesday. We're recording it just before then. So we've got what we need to know. Thank you for the guts to move forward on these things. I can't tell you, me personally, it's a load off my mind. Now, I will admit, being scared about one's livelihood has caused me to be exceedingly cautious with these forums. And so I will admit my quality has gone up, but it was out of pure fear, not because of somebody from ATF was willing to help me. And so living in fear is horrible. Sleepless nights, it's bad. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, dude. Seriously.
Not a problem. Like I always like to say, more guns equals less crime. Go out there and buy yourself a gun.
Agreed. Thank you, sir.